Hi, I'm Prasamsa Zamkutal, and today in this presentation, I'll be talking about the new case study from the Sales Management Chapter 9 course, the Disgruntled Customer case study. So, without delay, let's begin. So, before going further into the details, I'll first likely to talk about this case study, what this case study is exactly about. Let me give a brief summary for you all, for all of us to understand. So this case study is exactly about the frustrated client named Susan. Susan is a architecture firm owner who who had purchased a copier from the employee named Brenda 3 months ago. So after 3 months of no contact, Susan calls Brenda demanding a refund over a copier for a copier. She leaves the voicemail angrily demanding for the refund of a copier. Susan complained about this happens because Susan mostly faces these four major problems, and that is Susan complains about the paper jams, missing toner, and the no training provided for her, and the machine being very slow. So what happened exactly here is Brenda had first promised Susan to give her a training, but later she never followed up on Susan, the client. This was the biggest mistake that every this is also the biggest mistake that every employee from a company might even do. So what happened was Brenda assumed the toner was delivered after informing the shipping department and thought that Susan didn't need any training anymore, and she never followed up on the client. Brenda is confused because the copier should meet the standards and isn't very sure why Susan never contacted her earlier about these issues. Now Brenda must figure out how to respond and save the customer relationship. So मेजर प्रब्लम चाहिँ यहाँ के भयो भन्दाखेरि फर्स्टमा क्लियर कम्युनिकेसनको कुरा भएन. सो कस्टमर्स कम्पनी र इम्प्लोइको बिचमा एकदम क्लियर कम्युनिकेसन हुनुपर्ने हुन्छ. सो पछि गएर मिसअन्डरस्ट्यान्डिङले गर्दाखेरि केही इम्प्याक्ट नपरोस् भनेर चाहिँ यतिको लागि चाहिँ मान्छे स्योर हुनुपर्ने हुन्छ. Now let me talk about more details. Now here comes the part of how should Brenda handle this complaint. First of all, Brenda should exactly respond back to Susan immediately and be calm about it. Brenda should immediately call Susan and acknowledge her frustration and apologize sincerely for the inconvenience that has been caused. Even if some issues were very unintentional and she didn't mean it, but a genuine apology should always rebuild her trust and make sure the customer has calmed down. Because every time a small apology can exactly help people calm down most. And now for second of all she should take the ownership and act very quickly. So Brenda should like take a full responsibility for the lack of training that she couldn't provide and for the donor issue. Brenda must call and confirm the shipping department whether the donor was actually sent or not, and if not, make sure the shipping is done right away. And she should also schedule a training session at Susan's convenience as soon as possible and solve the matter as soon as possible. Then after that, she can investigate the machine issue. Like Brenda can offer to visit the Susan's office or send a technician to inspect the copier and see what exactly was the problem. And this shows exactly the current initiative and the concern shown by a employee or a company to a customer to build the relationship with each other. Now then, she can offer a goodwill gesture like free services or free toner carties and extended warranty or discounted services as a sign of goodwill. Because since the inconvenience has been caused and the customer is very angry about it, I think, and they will have a bit negative thing inside their heart or mind, because they might not contact for us for the second time. So in order to prevent that, we can just offer some free services and a goodwill gestures. Then later Brenda can follow up the client Susan very personally, or through the company's network too. After resolving the problem, it is very important to follow up with the client. So Brenda should personally follow up with Susan within a few days to ensure everything is very working well, and later too, so the and also so the dedication and keep the relationship alive between the customer and the employer and the company itself. So how should have Brenda prevented these incidents from happening? Brenda should have just used few key steps to prevent this event from happening. Like first, she should have at least contacted the shipment. She should have at least contacted the shipment or contacted Susan if and confirmed if the extra toner has had actually reached to Susan or not. And then she should have followed through her promises that she gave to the customer to provide a training session, or at least she should have asked Susan if Susan still needed the still needed the training session or not. Now, secondly, use a follow-up checklist for every new client. A client checklist helps to keep the track of such commitments, so it's clearly very helpful for the company itself, the employee itself, and the customer itself, so there won't be any miscommunication or anything later on. Now, third, also clearly explaining the machine's speed and features during the sale could have helped the could have could have helped manage the expectations from the customer itself. So lastly, she could have encouraged customers to contact, or Brenda could have encouraged Susan to contact her early if any problems had arisen. Because for a customer, if any problems arises, they need a professional to take help from, right? So that is the moment when Brenda should have stepped in and helped Susan. But since Brenda had not informed Susan to contact her if any problem arises or not reach out early, I think Susan felt unconscious or uncomfortable to reach out first, and thought the problem would solve itself, because त्यस्तो ट्रेनिङ सेसन पनि भएको थिएन उसको, अनि she must have assumed it, and that's how the problems had been caused. So proactive communication चाहिँ कस्टमर र इम्प्लोइ बिच चाहिँ हुनुपर्ने कस्टमर र जो मान्छे कस्टमर र सेल गर्ने मान्छे बिच चाहिँ हुनुपर्ने हुन्छ proactive communication. Now comes the part of maintaining two-way communication. So two-way communication को कुरा आउँदाखेरि चाहिँ to maintain the better two-way communication, Brenda should have Brenda should create a habit of checking in with customers like Susan. Like Susan, there might be still other customers who are facing some troubles. So this after installation and services, so Brenda should start checking on with the customers like Susan, and check if the customers are facing any problems or anything that might need help. Now, instead of assuming that silence means satisfaction, she should actively ask for feedback. Like, even if the customer themselves are not reaching out, it must be because they are uncomfortable or they are not having any problems. But the silence does not mean that it is always okay, right? So in that position, the cell manager, the Brenda, she should step ahead and talk with the customer, asking for a feedback and actively actively helping them out. Using both calls and emails helps her stay accessible, like through the various platforms that we have now, social media and everything. Brenda can easily contact the customer and stay accessible, and keeping a written log also ensures that she does not forget any promises. Like keeping a log of communication, like it's very important. Like she won't forget whatever promises and the communication she had with the customer itself, and be more proactive. And this kind of communication helps building a trust and prevents future issues with the customers and the sales manager itself. यति गऱ्यो भने चाहिँ the communication between the sales manager and the customer itself can be very much better. Okay, if given by the personal experience as a customer, as a customer, I will feel very I have felt very happy on the moment the sales manager or the company's staff had reached out to me and asked if I have liked the products, and if I am facing any issues with the products, or should I have any feedback for them or suggestion for them to improve that. Then it would be a very nice thing to have a communication between the sales manager and the company itself and the customer. It fixes all the problem to the relationship. How can we add value to the relationship? First, offer free training services and set up the support. In the case study part, if Susan continues as a client, then Brenda can regain the trust by offering extra support like training or usage tips like free services, many things like this. Like यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ कस्टमरले चाहिँ मलाई अलिकति भ्याल्यु दिएको छ भन्ने फिल होस् भनेर चाहिँ ब्रेन्डाले चाहिँ सुजनको लागि धेरै कुराहरू फ्री सर्भिसेसहरू, फ्री अनलाइन ट्रेनिङ्सहरू, यस्तो सेटअप उसको कपियर सेटअप गर्नलाई टिप्सहरू दिइराख्यो भने चाहिँ सुजनले चाहिँ मलाई ध्यान दिइराखेको रहेछ भन्ने कुरा हुन्छ. देन द्याट क्यान हेल्प बिल्ड द ट्रस्ट द्याट ह्याड बिन ब्रोकन वान्स. Secondly, be available for quick help or advice. So एउटा कम्युनिकेसन सेल्स म्यानेजर भएपछि कम्युनिकेसनमा प्रोएक्टिभ हुन एकदमै जरुरी छ. बाई बिङ प्रोएक्टिभ एन्ड रेस्पोन्सिभ, Brenda can strengthen their business relationship and become a trusted partner, and then build a long-term support relationship with the customer itself. Third, might give discounts, provide users tips or manuals. Just like I mentioned before, the discount, if I have made a mistake and I have to solve up for it as a sales manager itself, I would recommend giving the discounts and many services to the customer to make them feel or know that we as a sales manager, I neglected her and I felt guilty about it and I'm trying to solve it up for her भनेर चाहिँ एउटा यस्तो कुरा होस्, यस्तो फिलिङ होस् भनेर चाहिँ कस्टमरलाई भए भने पनि कस्टमरलाई होस् भने पनि डिस्काउन्ट चाहिँ दिनुपर्ने हुन्छ. सो ब्रेन्डाको कुरा गर्नु पर्दाखेरि, ब्रेन्डा र सुजनको कुरा गर्नु पर्दाखेरि, इफ ब्रेन्डा अफर्स द सुजन अ ह्युज डिस्काउन्ट्स एन्ड प्रोभाइड्स भेरी युजफुल टिप्स एन्ड हेल्पफुल म्यानुअल्स, I think it will really solve and add value to the relationship between customer and the sales manager. Now, as we move to the ending of the presentation for the conclusion, in conclusion, Brenda's case, this whole case study shows how important clients are, and how important follow-ups and a clear communication are in customer services. Making assumptions can harm relationship very badly, while taking small steps, steps can prevent bigger issues in the future that might happen. By staying responsive and adding value, Brenda can turn a frustrated customer into a loyal one. So it's not only about Brenda. If we ourselves are the sales manager or the customer, I think we should focus on how to move on with the customer services, and how and the communication between each other. Like, it has the biggest impact on the whole sales or marketing thing itself. So these are the some of references that I took help from in order to cite for the presentation. And thank you.